The fall 2014 anime season had a lot of enjoyable titles that I particularly liked, including Parasite the Maxim, Amagi Brilliant Part, Trinity 7, and Cross Angie, just to name a few. After picking out all the series that I wanted to watch, I went back to see if there were any series that were also worth watching that I hadn't considered. I then came across Shingeki no Bahamut, otherwise known as Rage of Bahamut Genesis. Not knowing anything about this series, I went into it with no expectations whatsoever, considering its source material. However, were my expectations justified or not? What's up guys, it's Kent from Spartan Media Reviews, here to discuss Shingeki no Bahamut Genesis. Does this show deserve a watch? Let's find out. Shingeki no Bahamut Genesis is a 12-episode series based off the card battle game of the same name, in which humans, gods, and demons live together after settling upon their differences when Bahamut tries to destroy the world. Now, if you haven't seen anything about this series at all, you're probably assuming that this is another Yu-Gi-Oh! Ripoff. However, that could not be further from the truth. Rage of Bahamut's story takes place 2,000 years after these events, in which a girl steals half of the key that sealed Bahamut away. We are then introduced to our other lead characters, Favaro, a crazy bounty hunter, and Kaiser, a knight who has become disgraced because of said bounty hunter, and everything starts to come full circle. The woman meets Favaro and puts a curse on him in order for him to help her on her journey, and Kaiser continues to try and stop Favaro on the journey as well. In layman's terms, Rage of Bahamut Genesis has a simple style of premise, but does a great job in terms of world building and overall exposition. The introduction of Favaro and Kaiser to the series has some really well done cinematography, combining a chase scene and sword fighting with horses galloping upon rooftops as well as giant spinning wheels. The first few minutes of the series are very grasping. However, the pacing of the series could have been done better in my opinion, and the ending is somewhat underwhelming as well. While Rage of Bahamut Genesis is not the best in terms of overall story and themes, it still is a lot of fun to watch and exceeded my expectations, considering it was produced to help sell the card game it was based off of. Considering the anime spans across a large range of areas, there is a large cast of characters as well, both good and bad. Main character development was decent for the most part, but I do wish some of our supporting characters were a little more important. While I wasn't the biggest fan of most of the characters, I have to say that I enjoyed Favaro's conversations with both Rita and Kaiser. These three characters are what makes the series so enjoyable to watch. Taking Favaro's crazy and wild personality, Kaiser's noble attitude, and Rita's enjoyable moments, you create a fun adventure that should be taken as such. Overall, the characters themselves are enjoyable and the development was okay for the most part. Rage of Bahamut Genesis was animated by Studio Mappa. I really liked the animation for this series. As I said at the beginning of this review, Mappa really was able to capture my attention when both Favaro and Kaiser were introduced. The character designs are what you would expect if you watch something based off mythology or medieval times. They look nice and are somewhat diverse from each other. The animation for the opening is also able to capture the elements of what the series is trying to portray, having the normal style of animation as well as a parchment art style. Overall, while the animation is not the best that I have seen, it works really well for this particular series. I've been wanting to talk about Rage of Bahamut's soundtrack, especially the opening, for a while now. If you have ever seen the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, the soundtrack, in my opinion, is one of the highest points of the film. Rage of Bahamut does the exact same thing and creates a beautiful score that I am a huge fan of. It was able to capture that adventure element really well, combining large orchestral movements with operatic choirs. It also added to the immersion of the series for me. The opening of the series, Existence by Sim, is a really enjoyable aspect of the soundtrack as well, especially the first 30 seconds of the song. It helps add to the darker feel that the show portrays. The voice acting was also very well done, and I enjoyed the banter between Favaro and Kaiser. Overall, the soundtrack had to be my favorite part of the show. Now, with everything that I have said, do I recommend watching Rage of Bahamut Genesis? Yes. Considering it was created to help sell its source material, Shingeki no Bahamut Genesis was really well done in a lot of aspects. Usually when series are made to help sell their original product, they usually don't put as much work into particular areas like scripting and characterization, such as the case with series like Konkole and Show by Rock. The series themselves aren't terrible, but they could have been done so much better instead of being a large-scale advertisement. Bahamut exceeds any expectations I had at the time going into the series and was a lot of fun to watch. If you are a fan of any action-adventure type of series or any show involving mythological elements, then Rage of Bahamut Genesis is a must-watch. Spartan Media Reviews gives Rage of Bahamut Genesis a final score of 7 out of 10 and a good recommendation. If you are interested in watching Rage of Bahamut Genesis, you can check out the series for free over on Funimation's website. Now, what are your thoughts on Rage of Bahamut Genesis? Comment below. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. You can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I would really appreciate that as well. Follow me on Twitter and Hummingbird to keep up to date with the current things that I am doing. And with all that said, I will catch you guys guys in my next review. Thank you for watching.